There are kind of different kinds of anger, aren't there? There's little anger, like when we stub our toe on the bed frame, or maybe when we cook dinner for our spouse and we didn't get the roast done quite right and they're annoyed. Those are small examples of anger. Maybe it's somebody at work that really kind of bugs us, every time they start talking or doing something, and we're annoyed with that. But we do get angry at a lot of little things. That's part of who we are as humans. It's going to happen. I think what Jesus is talking about through this text is more of an anger that starts to take root, that goes deeper in us and starts to cause problems in our relationships or in how we are with God. Let's keep reading. Let's go to verse 22. Jesus says, "But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council. And whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to the hell of fire." There's one of the references to hell. Now, the Aramaic word that might describe this angry kind of a person is called raka. And what raka means is someone who is empty-headed or worthless. So we start to get a picture of how the Lord looks at anger. And again, anger that goes deeper and starts to cause problems in our relationships. It's interesting, too, that Jesus talks about a council here, or kind of a legal system that would judge this angry person. Jewish literature describes God's heavenly tribunal as a supreme court or a Sanhedrin, much like the courts, the way they function with us today. In Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9, the Lord says, "Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the heart of fools." So the idea that the fool will be liable to the hell of fire, in Greek that literally means the Gehenna of fire. See, during Jesus' time of ministry, Gehenna, it was an actual valley outside of Jerusalem where people would take their garbage and burn it up. So this is, you can picture like a kind of a smoldering garbage dump is this idea of Gehenna of fire. Gehenna was not a good thing. It was envisioned as the opposite of paradise. In Gehenna, the wicked would be burned up or eternally tortured, according to the Jewish teaching. Well, let's keep reading. In verse 23, Jesus tells us, "If you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First, be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift." Reconciliation was so important. God would not accept an outward offering if someone had mistreated their neighbor and didn't make it right first. In the Old Testament, God only accepted sacrifices made with a pure heart toward him and our neighbor. Jeremiah 6:20 says, "What use to me is frankincense that comes from Sheba, or sweet cane from a distant land? Your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices pleasing to me." And in Amos, one of the other Old Testament prophets, chapter 5, verse 21, the Lord says, I despise your feasts, and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Even though you offer me your burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. And the peace offerings of your fattened animals, I will not look upon them. Take away from me the noise of your songs. To the melody of your harps, I will not listen. But let justice roll down like waters, and the righteousness like an everlasting stream. See, God is not impressed by how fancy our ceremonies are, how beautifully our band plays and sings. No offense, Toby. Or how expensive and elaborate our church decorations are, or how holy you and I act. Jesus commands us to go and make peace first, and then to gather and worship with a clean heart. In verse 25, Jesus goes on, "Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are going with him to court, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison." Verse 26, "Truly I say to you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny." So true. Jesus again talks about the courts. to show how important this concept of paying your debt, making things right is, making peace with your neighbor or your accuser, being in a right place with God. He talks about paying the last penny. It says penny in our translation. In the original text, they would have been referring to what they call a quadrant, which in the Roman money system, that was the lowest denomination of coin. And so when Jesus is using this description, he is talking about such a very small amount. It might have been equivalent to just a few minutes of wages, not even an hour's worth of work. But he's making a point that if you owe someone or if you've got someone between you, go make that right. Go settle that before you come and try to worship. How about you? Has your anger caused damage in your relationships? Is there someone that you need to go talk to and seek to be reconciled with? Maybe pick up the phone today or go see in person, better yet. And maybe it's something that you said or something that you did a long time ago, but it's caused that rift, and now you need to make peace.